basically our philosophy, and I know you're familiar with it. Our philosophy is every hitter's an individual. There's no always or nevers in baseball. There's 9 rules that are basically taught by most of the pro teams, but every Hall of Famer violates at least one of them. So there are no rules. And I think all the internet gurus have it wrong. I think you have to work bass backwards.
Yeah. And
by that I mean, how's he make his outs and why? If he's not making any outs, don't touch him. If he's making outs, then we try to look and see if there's something we can do without making any drastic changes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Clearing the Bases, the podcast where we step up to the plate and dive deep into the world of youth baseball. I'm your host, Jimmy Filangieri. You know, on this show, we discuss all things related to the preparation and development of youth baseball players, coaches, and yes, even parents. So sit back, settle in, and get ready to hear from some of the greatest baseball minds out there.
And they were playing in my field. The fence is 354 to the shortest point. Mm-hmm. They had 3 homers in the first 7 hitters. We're down 7-0, and I go out to talk to him, and he starts walking towards me and handing the ball. I said, no, I don't want the ball. You're not coming out till you get 3 outs.
Yes.
Look at the bullpen. There's nobody down there.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now, when the first guy, the leadoff man, hit it off the roof of the church, you tried to throw it harder, grunting and tooting, try to throw it harder than the next couple guys. How'd that work out? I said, you either got to throw it slower and lower, or you got to spin their cap or throw it in and out, up and down. But figure it out. You're not in the Babe Ruth League anymore, buddy. Right? And you're not coming out.
You know, to be able to reach the highest levels of this game, yeah, you got to work hard. You got to get in the cages. You got to do your strength and conditioning. You know, you got to throw your bullpens. There's all of this physical stuff that you need to do, and you need to work hard at it. But don't forget that you also have to get better at the mental side of the game. And one of the ways you can do that is increase baseball IQ by downloading and using the 6-Tool app.
For baseball coaches like you, every game brings measurable progress. However, game time isn't the time for trial and error learning. Instead, have a proactive approach. Use 6-Tool, the best baseball player development tool on the market. We provide a platform to level up your coaching strategy by helping you to quickly identify and address your players' knowledge of the game. By using our easy-to-implement interactive player quizzes, you can assess position-specific issues, overall baseball IQ, and much more. Win more games and develop better overall baseball players with effective off-the-field training. Visit us at 6-tool.com. 6-Tool. Get ahead in the game.
Well, here we go again, everybody. Tonight, we have South Jersey's own Joe Barth, also known as the Hit Doctor. He is one of America's premier hitting instructors with 50-plus years of experience and a track record of sending over 200 players, including Mike Trout, to the MLB and 50,000-plus players to college baseball. You know, Joe helped transform Gloucester Catholic High School and Brooklawn American Legion into national powerhouses. He later co-founded Tri-State Arsenal and the Hit Doctor USA. His teams have tallied over 40 national championships in youth travel. And I got to tell you something, when I first got involved in travel baseball years ago, the Tri-State Arsenal was the premier travel organization in this area. Nobody wanted to play them because they were that good. So let's welcome to the show, Joe Barth. How you doing tonight, Joe?
Very good. Thanks a lot for having me, Jimmy.
I'm looking forward to this because I know that I'll say that a lot of your hitting philosophies are very much what I believe, and I want everybody to hear it from straight from the horse's mouth, we'll say. So,
yeah, thank you.
So let's start let's go back to, well, first of all, how did it come about that you got involved in, starting a travel organization, Tri-State Arsenal? Because that started a long time ago, didn't it?
Yeah. My son actually started it, was instrumental in starting it in about 1988. And him and a couple of fellows from Brooklyn ran it to take care of the kids from the area that didn't play Legion and wanted to get involved with travel ball. And then travel ball started taking over. And then I took a year off from the Legion team, basically because my daughter was getting married, and I had to try to make enough money to pay for her wedding. And my brother took over the Legion team, and I don't know, a guy had a 15-year-old team, called it the Academy, and asked my son if the hit doctor would coach an AAU program or start one. He had a 14-year-old team that had never gone anywhere, and my son said, "Oh yeah, our company, the hit doctor will do it," meaning our company, because I was taking a year off supposedly. And next day I pick up the paper. It said the hit doctor comes out of retirement to coach this new Arsenal team. And so I took over this team, and they won the national championship. And after that, it was just on a roll. And then my brothers took over the Legion team for me in my year of absence. And I didn't feel right. They won the national championship too. So I didn't feel right, coming back there. And I got into the travel ball, and so we did both. My brother kept doing the Legion team, and I did the Arsenal until I sold in 2017 because my son left to run Perfect Game, and I was having all kind of physical problems, and I thought it was a good time to retire. And I sort of lucked out in that right after that COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
But that's how Arsenal came about.
So, so you had the nickname the Hit Doctor before the Arsenal. I thought it was the other way around. So
no, I got that a long time ago. I had guys back in the 70s. Some of my guys that were in pro ball used to come to the backyard and hit all the time. One day, one of my friends somewhere out there saw what we were doing, and I always wrote up a list of drills that they had to do between now and the next time they saw me. And my friend said, "Man, it's like going to the doctor, only it's the hit doctor. He gives us a prescription for what we do wrong." And so that's how it started. The next day, he actually brought a plaque to put on my cage that said the hit doctor, and that, my wife thought it was cute, this and that, and that's how we did it. And I've always done those prescriptions. It's just now there's 4,000 drills behind it. Basically, our philosophy, and I know you're familiar with it. Our philosophy is every hitter's an individual. There's no always or nevers in baseball. There's 9 rules that are basically taught by most of the pro teams, but every Hall of Famer violates at least one of them. So there are no rules. And I think all the internet gurus have it wrong. I think you have to work backwards.
Yeah. And
by that I mean, how's he make his outs and why? If he's not making any outs, don't touch him. If he's making outs, then we try to look and see if there's something we can do without making any drastic changes. And what I've found is that most kids come to us either, let's put it this way, I did a little kids camp, 5 and 6 year olds with wiffle bats, 4, 5 and 6 year olds. And I thought my granddaughter was a prodigy until I realized all the kids with the wiffle bat were just as good as her. And then what happened? They played t-ball and they ruined their swings. And so I think most kids, if given the opportunity, will figure out a way to take the barrel straight to the ball that fits their body's preferences. And the only thing is, when they come to us, they're usually screwed up from T-ball or what have you, Rumor Central, and they're so far away from what they did naturally. I just had a kid from New York. He was a second-round draft choice. He got released by the Twins, and when he sent me films of the year, he always hit 300, even his first couple of years in pro ball. And this last year in pro ball, they changed everything, and he sent me his videos, and I almost had a heart attack. Everything was wrong. And I said to him, my God, what did you let him change all that stuff for? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I keep a lot of videos, and I could not find one of this kid. I called his dad and asked him if he had anyone he played for me because he liked the videotape. He said, I'll look. But he said, right now, the only thing I can find is something when he played 5 years old. He played in T-ball when he was 5 and coach pitch when he was 6. I said, send that to me. And I looked at it. It's the same way he swung when he played for me. We made a couple little verbal tweaks, but nothing physical. And I sent it to him, and he just had a monster year. And all he did was go back to what he did at 5 years old. And I'm seeing it now with a lot of my kids. I just was on the phone with a few of them in the big leagues, and I really think right now people are falling in love with a couple of prevailing theories that I know to be wrong. And even if they were right for one person, it's only right for one person. And people can't copy Barry Bonds. People can't copy Mike Trout. People can't copy Aaron Judge. I don't think the normal person, even I as much ball as I played, didn't know how awesome these guys are physically. They can do things that normal people can't.
Yeah.
So to try to imitate Barry Bonds with a normal person is impossible.
Yeah.
And the truth is, you don't know who the next Barry Bonds or Babe Ruth is because he's not going to look like him. He's just going to hit like him if you leave him alone and let him build up his body. The good news is in pro ball, what these guys are doing with their bodies physically is unbelievable. The stuff that they have at their disposal. The thing that's screwing them up is we still got people looking for the one way for everybody to hit, or let's imitate Ernie Banks, or let's imitate this guy. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. I've shaken hands. I've had about 14 first rounders, but I've shaken hands with about 30 of them because I work with a few. And sometimes I have to say, please let go of my hand. Let me have my hand back. They're so strong in their hands.
Yeah.
And you can't teach that to that degree.
Yeah.
And so what we try to do is the opposite. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We work backwards. How's he making his outs? What's he doing? And we found that they're either too fast or too slow. Everybody makes routes one way of being too fast. Otherwise, they would never be out in front of a breaking ball.
Right.
And they also make them by being too slow at least one way. So everybody that ever lived had at least one flaw on either side of that equation. And the most you can have is 4 on either side. So we make a determination. What way is he too fast? What way is he too slow? And then uppercutting is one of the ways of being too slow.
Yeah.
There's basically 17 causes for uppercutting. So you could have 100 uppercutters, and they could have a collage of reasons for uppercutting, causes that would mean that they all have to do completely different drills. And there's some drills that are good for all uppercutters, but most of them are only good for guys who uppercut because they got too much weight on the back leg or they lean back.
Yeah.
So there's drills that are like whisk detergent for certain flaws.
Yeah. And
you have to know the causes. And that's it. It's the only sport where you really work backwards because, in other words, when you shoot a basketball, this is the way you shoot it. When you kick a football, you either soccer style or straight on, but there's style. But in baseball, I mean, the guy from the Soviet Union ran the Olympic program, come to America to study baseball. He said, I don't understand it. Tell me the one way to hit. It's like, no, there is no one way. And I've worked with, I don't know, some outrageous number of hitters. I used to do hundreds and hundreds of them a day for free. And I might have screwed up $500,000 before I fixed the other $500,000. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And everybody's an original. I learned that as I go, and I still don't. I learn more every day.
Yeah.
It's what you learn after you know it all that counts.
Yeah.
I thought I knew it all when I was 24, and then I realized I didn't know anything.
Yeah, right. The more you know, the more you learn, the more you
Yep.
realize that you don't know as much as you thought you knew.
No,
But
and it's a paradox too. It's one of the things that causes extreme power, for example. Those things also lengthen your swing. So I'm going to copy Darryl Strawberry's elbow lifting up real high, or Trouty, or I'm going to copy Mike Smith cocking his back elbow up while he strides. But I ain't got their hand strength.
Yeah.
And so it means I'm not going to hit. I copied Dick Allen in practice, but I couldn't do it in a game because he swung a 40-ounce bat like a wiffle bat.
Yeah.
You those guys are so genetically gifted that you really can't copy them. It's the basics, and you sort of, what happens when a kid, if he's played enough, Jim, when he's 11 or 12, these guys have played a ton of ball already.
Yeah.
And they've already got a style and a swing of their own. And unless they've been overcoached, they're doing what their bodies tell them to do.
Yeah.
They may not be doing it perfectly, but they don't need to make any major changes. They need to be tweaked. And if that was right, then the team that produced the most major league hitters out of their farm system wouldn't have hitting coaches.
Yeah.
And that's true. Of the Boston Red Sox don't have a hitting coach till Double-A. They spend rookie league, low A and high A without a hitting coach. A rover might come in once a year and tell them, work on this, work on that pitch.
Yep.
And they put out, I think, the same amount as anybody else in the last 30 years. They've had the most hitters.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's saying something.
Well, I like what you said about, people are overcoached, because that's something that I talk about all the time, is that, yes, people, everybody, and I'm talking about youth players. They all have trainers, they all have hitting, coaches and all of this stuff. And
Yep.
I think what happens a lot is the hitting coach is trying to impress the player, the mom and dad, and impress everybody under the sun about how much they know. Okay.
Yeah.
And I just agree with what you said so much, that everybody is different. And, like I know me with my hitters, I don't tweak much at all, unless something needs tweaking. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree with you. And what's happened, a couple of the internet guys that have millions of followers, they have one way for everybody to hit.
Yeah.
And it definitely doesn't fit. Saying that I taught so-and-so how to hit, it's like saying I taught Superman how to pass the eye exam. The guy's got x-ray vision, for Pete's sake. You cannot say that, I like to say I made Mike Trout, but Mike Trout was Mike Trout when I met him. His dad was a great, great hitter, and his mom was a great athlete, and he got the best of the gene pool, and he's just physically gifted more than anybody I've ever had in person. I was around Junior a lot because I was friends with Mr. Griffey,
Mm-hmm.
but Trouty and Junior, they're at another level of genetics that you see about once a decade or two, and judges in that category.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't teach people to copy them because physically they can't do what they do.
Sure.
And but what's happened is, if you have one style, it's easy to start getting all the drills for it and start copying this and that, and you sound like you know what you're talking about, and you can point to that one guy on TV that hits that way and say, I teach him, I teach like him, and parents buy into it because they don't know any better. But people have been trying to find a one way to hit or pitch since Babe Ruth's day.
Yeah.
And I copied Babe Ruth in Little League, and quite frankly, anybody that changed me after that made me worse.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
His style evidently fit my body, but there's no one way for anybody to hit.
No.
And
I couldn't agree with you more. But let me ask you a question, okay? Because I'm curious about this, okay? So you've helped so many players, players at the highest level of this game. Give us a story of a guy that maybe you started working with, and through that that development phase when you were with this hitter, that you changed something, or you helped him in a way that made him get to that next level. Gave him a better swing, gave him more confidence. Can you share a story like that?
well, I think one of the guys I'm most proud of is I had two of them on the Blue Jays, Davis Snyder and Joey Loperfido. And Davis was a dead pull sit and spin guy when he came, and couldn't hit the off speed, the curveball or the outside, and he learned that. And Joey Loperfido had an inside out swing from birth, and everybody that saw him tried to change him. And everywhere he went, he would start to feel, and then they'd say, "Oh, all right, go back your old way," and he would hit like crazy. And he's always done that, but he's had that swing since I had him when he was 9 or 10 years old, and he developed it in the academy. We're big on not trying to pull everything, trying to barrel everything, and let the ball. I got some guys who did pull a lot of pitches, but their hands are exceptionally fast, and they can reach the outside pitch without cheating, and they can hit the inside pitch without cheating, I should say. Joey was one of those guys. I mean, Freddie Freeman's another one. He's not one of my guys, but his swing is such that you can't throw him in because he's too quick. But if it's middle or out, he's not trying to pull it and ground it to the second baseman. He's going with it and barreling everything. And I think the key to that is the front shoulder. There's a guy from upstate New York that's been for years telling people that it's an advantage to be cross-dominant, left-handed hitter, right-handed thrower, because cross-dominant people drop their hands and swing way more with their lead arm. And I really studied his style and what he teaches, and he's right, but he's saying it in a different way than I say. Okay? Cross dominance is huge. And I knew Ken Griffey Jr. was right-handed. I didn't know Barry Bonds was until just recently. Babe Ruth was right-handed in that he wrote right-handed. He threw left-handed like Barry Bonds and so forth. But what happens is when your lead arm is in the front, and why this doesn't work with anybody other than Ricky Henderson on the other side, I don't know. But the biggest problem in baseball is that people's front shoulder pulls away from the plate before they make contact. And that's what takes them out of the zone. That's what makes you vulnerable to curveballs. And also makes your swing a little bit long, because my shoulder moves to the left. My hands cast away from me.
Yeah.
For every action is an equal and opposite reaction. So it makes my swing longer and rounder, and I have trouble staying in the zone. Cross-dominant people, their front shoulder always goes up. It makes it look like they're dropping their hands, but they're not. Their front shoulder goes up for a millisecond before it starts to turn. But by the time they start to turn, the ball's there, and they square it. And that's why Barry Bonds would sometimes hit an inside pitch, and it would pass first base 6 inches inside the base and hit 6 inches inside the foul pole. He didn't hook anything. He squared the ball because his front shoulder went up as part of the swing. I just told one of my kids' dads that's in the big leagues. He's really been struggling, and he hasn't made 5 outs since.
Oh, wow.
And he's on a tear. And again, I don't know if his dad got through to him or what, because his dad knows a lot about hitting. But the point is, he's been trying to keep his weight back, and turn on the ball. And that went out in 1950, but now it's all of a sudden it's been resurrected. You know, if you turn a hair prematurely, you're in trouble. And yet, if you don't get that bat going, as hard as these guys throw, you're also in trouble. Yeah. But you don't want your back shoulder to. One of my big pet peeves. I don't like to keep your weight back. Number one, I don't like to keep your hands back. Number two, and I don't like take your back shoulder to the ball. All right, take that one thing at a time. Eddie Murray used to hit 5 swings off his back foot with his front foot in the air. 5 swings off his front foot with his back foot in the air. And I said to him, why do you do that? He said, well, my front foot in the air, I have all my weight on my back foot. I'm reminding myself what happens when Nolan Ryan gets in on me and I don't have my foot down. I got to at least foul it off. I try to foul it off. I said, what happens on the other one? Well, the other one's when Nolan Ryan throws me a curve and catches me out on the front foot. I know that if I keep my shoulder down and take it up, I can hit it out of the park because I'm much faster and stronger on my front leg. So, I mean, Jimmy, how many guys got released from Major League Baseball because they were too fast for Major League pitching? Nobody.
I was just going to say nobody.
Years,
nobody.
Right? Some of them, when they get released, I've had friends, they say I got released because I couldn't hit Major League curveballs. That's not true. They got released because they were too slow. They hit curveballs in Double-A, Triple-A their whole career. But they got to the majors, the pitchers were just that click faster, and they were throwing them inside all day long, so they had to cheat to catch up. And as soon as they cheated to catch up, they could no longer hit a curve. So they may have gone home thinking, I got released because I couldn't hit a curve. They got released because they couldn't stay close and be quick enough to hit fastballs.
Yeah.
So I don't ever want to say to a guy, keep more weight back, shift after you hit it or shift when you swing, because normal people, not Superman, are going to get caught with their weight back, and that's no good.
Yeah.
My college coach, after I hit 500 a couple of years, decided to teach me how to hit. And he said, you'll hit even more home runs, you'll hit even more if you keep your hands back. Well, again, I was a coach's son, so I listened to him. I had a terrible, terrible year. Not only did I drop 250 points from the year before, but my slugging percentage went from over 1,000 to 300. I hit 286, batted 300.
Wow.
And here's why. I learned to keep my hands back on everything, but I didn't keep my shoulder closed. So what it did, it extended my lead arm or my bottom arm such that I could no longer hit a fastball either.
Yeah.
and you bar up. Now, a guy from Missouri would say, hey, but Mr. B, if I keep my front shoulder closed, it keeps my hands back. So my hands will stand back. Yes, but if you keep your hands back, that doesn't keep your shoulder closed, right?
Yeah.
In fact, you may bar up and not hit anything.
Yeah.
All right. And last but not least, if you turn on the ball, hitting is hard because you have to have separation. And the new style, they don't teach separation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the lower half happens when my front heel hits, my cup turns towards the pitcher.
Yeah.
I did my doctoral thesis on how far, at least I started it, how much does weight enter into production of home runs and so forth. And what I did was disprove my theory. The smaller the guys were, the shorter they were, the more home runs they hit. The only thing I could find in common was the closer the cup was, the pointing to the pitcher, where their front shoulder was still closed, the greater their home runs per pound. And Jamie Corvallis from New York, his list is 20 years older than mine. It still has most of the same guys in it that I had. Pound for pound, the greatest home run hitters have their cup, like watch Ken Griffey Jr., Hank Aaron, Jimmy Wynn, Joe Morgan. their cup is almost facing the pitcher with their front shoulder still completely closed. And so when they swing, it's like a corkscrew.
Yeah.
It's like their upper body's coiled and closed. Their bottom half is already open.
Yeah.
And now their front shoulder actually doesn't even turn to the left yet. It goes up, then turns. And it's the going up, not drop. If I drop my back shoulder, that's slow. In other words, the new style is turn the bat over and then slot your elbow and then take your shoulder to the ball and then fire your hands. Yes. And do that all in 0.2 of a second because you got 0.2 to look at the ball, 0.2 to swing. You can't do 4 things in 0.2 of a thing. Here's the good news about baseball. When my front heel hits, my back heel comes up and my knee triggers and my cup moves. Now, I've worked with a lot of major leaguers and they didn't even know they did that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? So that happens automatically. Now, to make the Hall of Fame, we want your knob pointing at the catcher at foot strike. If that's there, don't you have to turn it around to move it forward? It all happens in a blink.
Yeah.
That'll happen with getting your hips to go first happens without thinking. Turning the bat over happens without thinking. What you have to think about is take the barrel to the ball.
Yeah.
But take your shoulder up, and now you can take the barrel straight to the outside pitch or the inside pitch. Once your shoulder moves, you can't throw the barrel to the outside pitch. You can only throw it middle end.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you've moved your spray from the middle of the field to the left field parking lot. Yeah.
Now, I just want to clarify something. So when you're saying that, the cup has to be towards the pitcher, so keeping that while that front shoulder stays closed.
Yes.
Okay. Isn't that what is meant by keeping your hands back?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The shoulder being closed keeps your hands back.
Yep.
Right. Once that shoulder goes. And the other thing is baseball, the only sport that you practice at 50-60% of game speed. So in practice, all the coaches back in my day when dinosaurs roamed, they always said, keep your weight back 60-40 to the back leg.
Yeah.
And that's what was taught in the major leagues. Yeah. Okay? But that's not what actually happens. If you practice 60-40 to the back at 50 miles an hour, now you're facing guys throwing 90. It speeds everything up such that when your front heel comes down, your back heel comes up, your back knee triggers, and your cup moves. When we watched it on film in the 1950s, and it ruined hitters for 10 years, when they watched it in slow motion, they saw, oh, look, this guy's popping his hips first. They didn't know they were doing it. They didn't do it on purpose. They weren't popping their hips. The first conscious thing they did was swing, and they tried to keep their upper body closed. So Jack Leiter did a great job just the other day in an interview explaining pitching. Pitching is the same as hitting. The lower half rotates around like a merry-go-round.
Yep.
And the top half is like the Ferris wheel. And you rotate the lower half and throw over the top with your upper body. Even the guys who throw 3/4 low, they still go forward with their upper body. Mm-hmm. And so you actually are cut in half. But what I'm saying is the lower half, for the most part, does what you naturally do, and it'll rotate normally unless you've been overtrained.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the hardest things that I find with high school hitters. Number one, they were never taught like what all of this that you're talking about. They were never taught that when they were younger. So they get to the high school level. Now we're trying to knock down everything that they knew was, to be real before they got here. And, we start right out with having to stop them from lunging at the baseball.
Yes.
That's the first thing that we have to fix because you know as well as I do that you can't hit a baseball that way.
No.
They got away with it when they were young. They got away with it because they have natural ability to some degree.
Exactly.
But, to try and keep them to stay stacked when we first get them is very difficult to do.
Right, right. Well, I think more common than lunging, Jimmy, is opening. And we don't want to mistake opening for lunging. What happens is every time I go to a little game, and I go to so many perfect game little tournaments, I hear every coach and every parent yelling, Johnny, stay back, you're lunging, stay back, stay back. Johnny isn't lunging, he's opening. And they see him flailing at that outside pitch and his butt going one way and the bat going another. But it's because he opened the front side as opposed to lunging. Lunging, not that many people lunge anymore, right? But the biggest thing I see in high school, all the way up to the big leagues, is there's no such thing as a two-strike approach anymore.
Oh, I was going to just get in.
55% of your at-bats will end with two strikes.
Yeah.
What you do with two strikes determines whether you're going to make the All-Stars, the Hall of Fame, or nothing.
Yes.
And what I saw with Ryan Howard when he came up with the Phillies, and I saw it with Pat Burrell, they were two of the most talented guys in the history of baseball. And their first year with the Phillies, they both came up in a split season. They both hit over 300. In his first 162 games, Ryan Howard hit 70 home runs. Pat Burrell hit about 55. And then they were taught to try to hit the ball further out front, hit it out in front, get out there, make your errors on the ground. Home run hitters hit the ball deeper. Hall of Famers hit the ball deeper. They let the ball travel. And don't worry about striking out. Well, they all worry about striking out.
Yeah.
So what happens is they started swinging at bad pitches, no strike, one strike, because they didn't want to go to two strikes because they struck out all the time. They struck out all the time because they had to cheat to hit it way out in front. When they first came up, they just hit the ball where it was pitched.
Yeah.
And I hear it all the time on TV, oh, well, he's hot now. He seems to be going with the pitch more. Yet that's not what's being taught. What's being taught is get your barrel out in front. Okay?
Yeah.
You can hit it out of the catcher's mitt if you're on line.
Yeah.
So that's, and then the other thing is, I'm a big Phillies fan, and I mean, most of my lifetime being a Phillies fan is like setting yourself on fire. All right, but then, then they got really good,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, some things they don't change. They against the Diamondbacks. I had kids on the Diamondbacks, and I know Strami, and he's one of the great pitching coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach Gallen's one of my kids. I knew they didn't have no power pitchers, right? Well, the Phillies lost to them 4 times by 1 run, and they struck out an average of almost 15 guys per game during those 4 losses.
Wow.
But most of the strikeouts were with men on third or second and third, less than 2 outs.
Ooh.
If they hadn't struck out any of those games, they win the World Series.
Yeah.
Right? They struck out almost 15 times a game against a team that didn't have strikeout pitchers.
Yeah.
How can that be? Well, man on second and third, and the guys are swinging from their butt for 2 pitches. Okay, those 2 pitches are yours.
Yeah.
You got 2 strikes. Step out of there, put the ball in play. I don't care what the guys from Harvard or MIT say. Put the ball in play. I want to win the game.
Yeah.
and that it's not being stressed right now. I mean, guys strike out. Little guys striking out 150 times a year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And there's no running game anymore. These big guys throw real hard, but they can't hold anybody on. They don't care to.
Yeah. You know what?
I'll get strikeouts. Back at I'm not talking about when I played. I'm talking about 10, 15 years ago. Your 1, 2, 7, 8, 9 hitters didn't strike out.
Right. Yeah.
And now, everybody's striking out a lot. So I just had this conversation with one of my kids' parents, and hopefully it hit home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He should be a Hall of Famer, and he's got to get back to being what he can be. One of the examples I used was Trey Turner. I saw him play with the Dodgers. He was a complete package.
Mm-hmm.
He comes to Philadelphia. He gets home run crazy. Maybe it's the short fence. I don't know. Maybe it's all the home run hitters they have. But he completely changed the way he hit. And he struck out a bunch in the Arizona thing where he took too big a swing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let's go back to Darryl Strawberry. What makes you more powerful than another guy sometimes isn't just your physicality. It may be the fact that you lift your elbow, your swing's a little longer, right? Well, what Darryl Strawberry can do is he can still get the barrel there where I couldn't if I did that. Most people can't if they do that.
Right.
You know? One of my students was Rob Deere. I tried to help him make a comeback, and he said, man, I didn't know any of this stuff. He said, wait till my old roommates from Milwaukee get home. They're out hunting. My next door neighbors, Paul Molitor and the shortstop, the Hall of Famer. Yeah. He said, wait till they get back from the hitting trip. I'm gonna ask them where they contact the ball, and it's palm up, palm down, and they keep their shoulder closed. All the stuff you told me I never heard before. And he asked them, what's the key to hitting? And they said exactly what I had just said to Rob for 3 days. He said, oh, I'm going to kill you guys, you know? But what I found with Paul Molitor, he was so physically strong in his hands and forearms, not maybe compared to the Hulk Hogan or an NFL lineman, but for his body, it's the same with Altuve. His hand strength is off the charts for his body.
Mm-hmm.
And so just Paul Molitor alone, copying him in the Milwaukee area may have ruined a million kids. No stride, no load, no nothing. But guess what? He was like Superman from his elbows to his fingertips.
Yeah.
You can't teach the strength that guy had.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you're going to find anytime you see a great hitter, there's something special going on there.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't really imitate him and be as successful unless you're as gifted, you know, in that area.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. It does.
I'm starting to make sense in my old age.
Something tells me you've been making sense for a very long time.
I try, Jimmy. I'm really trying. I've drove my wife nuts sitting still here because I had my back operated on, and I broke my neck and blah blah blah.
Oh God!
But I got 100 patentable patents now.
Right.
And we're coming out with all this stuff now. I used to make training bats for every kid to make them hit fastballs better, curveballs better, whatever, bunt better, hit and run, get stronger. I made bats for my dad's Legion team when I was 5 and 6 years old.
Wow.
And he would spend all this money to get them made, and then they would break. So all these bats are unbreakable now. I'm hooked up with a company that makes unbreakable bats, wood bats.
Wow.
And they really perform. But I have about 8 training bats and about 100 devices that teach how to hit in a game, a professional approach. And you use all these gadgets and gizmos to set up practice to make it like a game. And I'll swear by it. I mean, I know it works. We've tested it for about 50 years with Brooklyn. I kept it to myself. First 2 gadgets I made got stolen long time ago.
Wow.
So we just kept all this stuff in the family with Gloucester Catholic and Brooklyn. Between those 2 teams, they have 65 state championships and I don't know how many national championships. So then the Arsenal's won like, I don't know, 800, 900 tournaments and 59 World Series. But the point is, we're not the sharpest tools in the shed. We just have great gizmos and gadgets, and we go at it every day.
Yeah.
Our kids get measured every day in something.
Yeah.
And what gets measured gets done.
Yeah.
And the improvement is staggering. And I think it would happen everywhere if you measured stuff. But, yeah, but Perfect Game took over. I helped them, but they took over the showcase business. I started the national showcase business years ago because I felt we had a lot of players in the Mid-Atlantic region that never got anything. And Perfect Game took over after I did, and I helped them a little bit. I used to give the speed, the bat speed, all that kind of stuff. They were giving out the pitching velocities for the last 20 years. They single-handedly have been responsible for this increase in velocity. Now they're giving out the bat speed and all. And the only thing is, too many people were overswinging. When you say that Trouty swings 90 miles an hour, has exit speeds in the 100, when he hits it, his max swing is probably about 110.
Yes.
The average major leaguer swings about 75 or 80% of max.
Yes.
Right? If they swing more than that, they're striking out way too much.
Yep.
Right? Well, these high school kids, Coastal Carolina's got a bunch of guys on the JV team that swing 75 miles an hour, but they strike out too much.
Yeah.
And so to bring him back in the range, I always tell him, the guy has had the highest batting average the last 2 years in baseball, and he'll probably end up with the highest average again this year. Nobody's touched his 370 average since Tony Gwynn 50 years ago. Is a rise. He has the slowest barrel speed in the major leagues.
Yep, I've heard
of any
that.
starting player.
Yep.
All right, so it's more about timing and squaring the ball.
Sure.
If I don't have enough bat speed to start at the last instant, I start a split second sooner to give myself enough time to get a 67 mile an hour barrel there.
Yeah.
Barrel control is the key. Timing's the second thing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
The faster you are, the more mistakes you can make, right? But I think that is a lot to do with your hands to your elbows, and I think it's God-given to a certain degree. You can improve on it certainly, but if you don't have great hand speed or great barrel speed, it doesn't mean you can't be a superstar in the major leagues. Look at Arise.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's more about timing and learning to square the ball, and I think the kids definitely don't hit enough in travel ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me and my brothers hit every day, all day, and then we played sandlot ball all day, and now you drive by the fields, they're all empty.
Yeah, I mean,
during the day.
Same thing when I was a kid. I mean, we played,
Yes.
every single day.
Yeah.
One of the things that you were just talking about, bat speed. Again, it's another problem that we have at the high school level is because, I mean, I'm sure you've heard this a million times. Everybody tells them, just hit it hard. Just hit it hard. So what the kids think that means is
exactly.
It means come out of your shoes. Okay.
Yes.
They don't understand that. No, it's 80%. It's
Right.
not 100%. And again, it's a tough thing. So I'm glad that you said that because I don't want people to think I'm a nut, but that's the way I teach it. I want 80% of your swing. I don't want to see you coming out of your
You're
shoes.
100% right. And the real good big leaguers are about 75 to 80%.
Yeah.
And that's higher than it was. It used to be 70 to 75. Here's what I'll say about bat speed. If a guy works every day to try to swing it harder and he increases his max bat speed, then it's probably his 80% got faster.
Right.
But in the game, his timing is at 80%.
Correct.
When you overswing, move your shoulder, move your head, you lose the ability to square the ball.
Yeah.
And so we have ways of testing it, and a couple of my superstar major league players failed the test this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They went all the way back to beginner head movement, like my 8-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
There's nobody 14 and up that trains with us who moves their head, all right? The average major leaguer moves their head half a ball.
Yeah.
Right? One ball and you're not hitting in the big leagues.
Yep.
2 balls is how the hell are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay? We want a controlled swing. The best I'd say, it's almost as hard as you can swing without moving your head.
Yeah.
Don't move your head. Take your shoulder up, not out, and don't move your head, and then square the ball. I don't want them taking a practice swing without a piece of tape or something covering the sweet part of the bat. Hit it with the sweet part of the bat. Don't do flip-flops down Broadway because you just hit the ball. Mickey the Monkey can hit the ball. At least they could back in my day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Square it. It'll be hit hard. Will it be 120? No. No, unless you're standing. Right? Hit it square, and they'll have trouble catching it. I mean, Well, Jimmy, has it really changed that much? I played in 1963, first game in varsity as a freshman. My goal and the goal of everybody in the team in BP was to hit a line drive.
Yes.
And I was a little big guy for a freshman. He said, you can rise it a little bit over the infield.
Yeah.
The rest of you guys hit clotheslines.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Okay? By exaggerating it, like when I watch Juan Gonzalez or some of these guys take BP, Barry Bonds, they're hitting line drives, right? And then they get in the game, it rises it up, and they're going in the upper deck. These guys are hitting pop-ups.
Yeah.
And there's high school teams now that can't catch ground balls.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They get away with it.
Exactly.
15 Ks and 5 fly balls to the outfield.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I played, and again, it was 100 years ago. I would be, because I was a leadoff hitter. I was small when I was younger. I'm looking for holes in the infield, and I try and hit it hard on the ground through the hole. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes. Yeah.
You try and teach that to kids nowadays. They think that you're nuts.
Well, the parents call you because they heard about this guy on the internet and that guy on the internet.
Yeah.
But those guys never actually played.
Yeah.
And the one that did play couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. But most of the hitting coaches in the majors couldn't hit. So sometimes a guru comes out and has a new way of hitting, they buy into it. You never sell this to Hank Aaron.
Right.
Yeah. You sell it. Baseball has this funny thing. If a guy managed to hang on the big leagues, didn't cause any trouble, and couldn't break a pane of glass, spit on it, cut it, whatever, survived in the majors as a pitcher, he's a pitching coach. This guy, he couldn't hit water if he fell out of his boat, fielded his position pretty good. We're going to make him a hitting coach.
Yeah.
Right? Meanwhile, you got the Mike Smiths of the world, and Barry Bonds getting fired. Mark McGwire is probably the only really good hitter, coaching hitters in the big leagues. To me, that's sort of bass backwards, isn't it? The excuse is he expects everybody to have his talent. I think it's the opposite. I think Ted Williams said, I know they ain't got my swing. I try to maximize theirs.
Right. Right.
So,
but I mean, don't you find that a lot of times that happens where, high level hitters, whatever, high level pitchers, even, high level anything. Okay. A lot of those guys have a hard time teaching it because it came natural to them and they can't understand why you can't do what they're telling you to do.
I agree. I agree with that, Jimmy, but it's not mutually exclusive. In other words,
no, not at all.
They're like the rest of the population. Some guys can teach and some guys can't.
Right.
Great teachers come in all sizes, shapes, and forms. But needless to say, a great teacher who played in the big leagues and was successful will probably do a good job. I don't think I have to jump off the Walt Whitman Bridge to be able to teach you or somebody else how to jump off the Walt Whitman Bridge. In fact, if I've jumped off the Walt Whitman Bridge, I know anybody can teach you better.
Right.
Because I'm gone. It's almost the exact same in the majors. If you've played in the major leagues and have been mutually successful, it's very hard for you to be a great hitting coach unless you are smart student of the game. Greg Luzinski, great hitter for the Phillies, great student of the game. I said to him, you never try to teach people to hit like you. He said, Joe, I was a 290-pound guy with short arms and forearms like somebody's legs. Yeah. How can I teach kids how to hit like me? Everybody's different. I try to watch what everybody does, and then I try to liken him to, he hits like Boa, he hits like Smitty, he hits like this guy, and try to work with what they bring us. And that's correct. And Greg Luzinski was a great hitter and a great hitting coach. Bob Boone was a great hitting coach.
Yeah.
I think anybody who has an open mind and is willing to learn, to know that I don't have the one way to hit.
Right. But that's the key.
Yeah. There's no question. But I think everybody should try to get a two-strike approach.
Yes.
I really do. Even a home run hitter like Ted Williams, he emphasized get a two-strike approach.
Yeah.
And if he could get one, why shouldn't everybody try to get one? You know?
Right. Well, I got to tell you, with that, you hit a nerve with me, because last year, we worked on two-strike approach.
Yep.
Very, very heavily,
Yes.
in our training sessions. Okay. And then what I would do is, when my players were at bat, whenever they had two strikes on them, they would look down at me, and I would tap the top of my helmet, and they would tap
Yep.
the top of their helmet. Okay.
Yep.
Reminding two-strike approach.
Two-strike approach.
Give me 1 inch off the knob, and, go through what we worked on in practice. And you want to know something? I believe we were probably the best two-strike hitting team in the section last year. It's so important.
What you do on a daily basis, players are the result of their daily process.
Yeah.
Some of these guys go to pitching camps, 2,000 for the weekend, 3,000 for the weekend. I'm going to go to Oregon, whatever.
Yeah.
You are a product of your daily process. What do you do the other 50 weeks a year?
Right.
That's what makes you a ball player.
Right.
And, I mean, so many of these guys in the Northeast now, because they think travel ball coach has practice twice a week, that's it. No, that's no good. And that gives you Michael Jackson disease. Wear gloves for no apparent reason, right? and we're falling behind the southern areas again. I thought we caught up and started to pass them, Jimmy, because our kids would fix their swings in the winter and go at it year round.
Yeah.
I'd go to California, Texas, and Florida. The guy had all the tools, but a lousy swing. As a 15-year-old, I'd see him 3 years later. He still had a lousy swing with all the tools. I'll give you an example you may have heard of, right? I saw Tony Gwynn Jr. when he was 15, 16 years old.
Okay.
He was not a good player.
Mm-hmm.
He did not have a good swing. He just kept playing, and he could run, throw, but everybody said, oh, he can't hit like his dad. He learned to hit after they signed him, because up to that point, he just kept playing, and nobody ever changed his swing. His dad was always playing, right? In the Northeast, we always had that period when the Northeast caught up. I think we caught up at least with California and Florida. It was when baseball started playing in the fall up here. We had the fall, we had the winter, and we had the summer. And all of a sudden, the guys started training in the winter and making the necessary changes. And then they played summer and fall. They played almost as many games as they did down south, except they made the changes that were necessary in the winter. And they worked on their bodies in the winter. And all of a sudden, I mean, we're playing teams from California with 18 guys who are drafted with our Legion team, and we're beating them. And my guys are saying, why weren't we drafted? You know, one year Brett Laxton got drafted because he threw 95, and nobody else got drafted on the team. We beat teams with 18 guys drafted out of 18. How can that be?
Yeah.
Well, he can hit. Well, so can my first baseman. He can't do nothing but hit. My first baseman can at least play first base, right? But it was a different mentality. The Phillies at one time had one scout covering 13 states back east and 13 scouts in Southern California and Central California combined.
There you go.
Right? So they expected to find that many more players, and they did.
Yeah.
But I've had great players. If Mike Trout hadn't have played a perfect game, he may have gone down to the bottom of the draft.
Yeah.
The fact that he went 25th tells you that 24 people screwed up.
Yeah, exactly. and let's face it, that happens a lot. You know that.
Oh, we've had good ball players for years.
Yeah.
And some of the best players I ever saw had big first years in pro ball, signed for $500, and then got released and sent home.
Yeah.
And for the next 10 years, they put on a show every day, and people say, I don't know, the Orioles let him go, Detroit let him go, right?
Yeah.
The best shortstop that I ever had, he hit 350 in Bluefield and got released. And he's made the All-Star team at short. He was the best ever. I had other shortstops that made the majors, but they weren't as good as this guy.
Right.
And he stayed home here for the next 10 years. He played. He loved the game. And he hit 500-600 every year, home runs everywhere he went. And people say, oh, my God, why don't the Phillies sign him? Oh, he got released by the Orioles.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 year after making I think he was the top player in the league that Bluefield was in.
Right.
He got released because they signed Bobby Grich and put him next year at shortstop in the A-ball team. They got rid of our guy.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Yeah. But right now, my last team, 2017, that group, 26 of them were drafted.
Wow.
Most of them were from the immediate area. I had a couple guests that I took for a friend, but of that bunch, now 16 of them were drafted in 2021, I guess it was. We had a first, second, 8th, and 28th pick in the first round. We had 4 in the first, 4 in the second, 4 in the third.
Wow.
And 4 in the 4th and 5th rounds. So it was only a 5-round draft.
Right.
And a lot of those guys are already up, and they're playing every day. And some of the other bonus babies are now in double and triple A.
Wow.
Right. But they were all homegrown. That was the first group I had from age 8 to 18.
Wow. Okay. That says a lot.
The reason there was 26 of them instead of 15 or 16 is because a lot of them made the USA team when they were 18, and I told them to go to that.
Yeah.
But back in the day, that was my last group.
Yep.
And they were a great group. Henry Davis and Jack Leiter were first and second pick out of college.
Yeah. Henry Davis.
He got picked out of high school.
Yep. Henry Davis is a local kid.
Yeah, Henry's a great kid.
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but he's from. Matter of fact, his high school coach lives in the same town that I do, so he's a local kid, fairly local anyway.
Well, Henry come from a great family. He was a great kid. He threw 100 miles an hour when he was a senior.
Yeah,
and I was always trying to get him to close every once in a while, but he liked to do everything. But he was really good at catching, and he was a good hitter.
Yeah.
But he didn't show the power that he showed after he got to Louisville, and they put some weight on him and all that. He really improved his power.
Yeah.
He was always a team guy and the smartest guy on the field.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a star. It's just a matter of him settling in up there.
Sure. He's still a baby. I mean, let's face it, he's young.
Yeah, he's a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he made it up really, really quick.
Really quick. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jack Leiter, what happened? Leiter could hit in that spot with 3 pitches his whole life, but he didn't grow to his last year with us, and he went from maybe 85 to 92 in 1 year.
Wow.
And then he went to Vanderbilt. He got up to 98, but he spent 3 years learning how to pitch backwards.
Yeah.
With us, we play with wood all the time, so he threw fastballs in and breaking balls away. After 3 years at Vandy, he was throwing sliders and curves in all the fastball situations because he couldn't throw in. It took him a couple of years, I think, to get it, but he's up now. He's going to be a star. He's got the mentality. He's got the whole package.
Yeah.
And again, another New York guy from that. He's from North Jersey, but he's from. Most of my kids were from down here, but he was a great ball player. We had him for a long time.
Yeah. Couple of things that I want to get to because we're running out of time is number one, you said that failure equals improvement. Okay.
Yes.
And I believe that completely. Explain that.
Well, I don't. When you go 35-0, I don't think you learn anything.
Right.
So my dad's whole theory was let's face everybody that's got a great pitcher that can beat us, and let's face every team that can beat us, and play them as many times as we can, and they'll pull us up. Yeah. Teams, your schedule can pull you up or pull you down.
Yeah.
Like Al McGuire kiddingly said, the key to winning 25 games every year in basketball is to schedule 30 teams so you can afford to screw up 5 times.
Yeah.
My dad's philosophy was, let's play UCLA as many times as they'll play us, and that'll pull us up against everybody else. And then by the end of the year, hopefully we get lucky and beat UCLA.
Yeah.
The thing is, we get to the point where we play the game really well. We also don't play the same game as most people. In other words, I don't believe in the book. If I got the payroll and the money that the Dodgers or the Yankees have. I hope everybody plays by the book.
Right.
But I don't have that kind of money. I'm like the Milwaukee Brewers, right? I am going to do anything and everything I can do to beat you.
Yeah.
And in my case, playing against teams that are better than us all the time, we're going to figure out how to beat these people, right? Because we're going to bring stuff to the table that they have never seen, and they're not used to it. We're going to put the heat on them. And if they beat us, we're going to shake their hands and tip their hat, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
But if I play 50 teams and 25 to 40 of them got the capability or the pitcher to beat us, and I win 40 games, now I've done something.
Now you've done something, yes.
Right. You learn more when you get smoked or you get beat. This pitcher shuts us completely down, or they bomb our pitchers. Now it's class for our pitchers. What happened? Why did this happen? I had a kid that got a cup of coffee in the minors, but he was an All-American out in Idaho College. But first game he pitched for me was against the Bayside Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
And they came down. They had all-pro prospects, and they were loaded. He was 15, and he threw real hard. 15 back in the day, he threw 86.
Wow.
And I put him out there, and they were playing in my field. The fence is 354 to the shortest point.
Mm-hmm.
They had 3 homers in the first 7 hitters. We're down 7-0, and I go out to talk to him, and he starts walking towards me and hand the ball. I said, no, I don't want the ball. You're not coming out till you get 3 outs.
Yes.
Look at the bullpen. There's nobody down there.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now, when the first guy, the leadoff man, hit it off the roof of the church, you tried to throw it harder, grunting and tooting, try to throw it harder than the next couple guys. How'd that work out? I said, you either got to throw it slower and lower, or you got to spin their cap or throw it in and out, up and down. But figure it out. You're not in the Babe Ruth League anymore, buddy. All right? And you're not coming out. He looked out in the bullpen, kept waiting for me to put somebody there. And then I told him, and ain't nobody coming. Nobody's coming. And he figured it out. He went 5 more innings, and he threw his changeup more than he ever did in his life.
There you go.
And he started mixing them up and started trying to keep the ball down. And he got through 5 innings. I took him out. And from that day on, he was a totally different pitcher.
Yeah. Joe, I've done the same thing.
You have to.
Yes, I've done it.
Yeah, you have to. And one of my pet peeves, again, I'm too old school maybe. One of my pet peeves, I never like to give the kids punishment. In other words, you do something really wrong, just give me 5 push-ups. And the kids, they agree with that. In fact, I don't want to give them. The shortstop's the captain of the infielders, the center fielder's the captain of the outfielders, the catcher's the captain of the captains, and this pitcher's the captain of the pitchers. You give them out. The captains, you give out the 5 push. Just do 5 push-ups. I don't tell them that we have weights that we put on their back. So maybe by the 3rd week, they got 40 pounds on their back, and then 100, and then 200, and then 300, whatever, right? It's only 5 push-ups, boys.
Right.
Right? But one of the pet peeves that gets 10 push-ups, you get called out looking. You've been told your whole life, anything close. Now the guy throws it over the plate 7 inches in, and you're bitching that it's outside. What if it's 1 ball outside? You should know that. You watch the game.
Yeah.
We don't care. With 2 strikes, you're in the Dominican. You expand. Do not get called out. The fact that you got called out, it was too close to take. Do you understand?
Exactly.
Give me 10.
Yeah.
All right? In fact, why don't you come down and sit next to me? All right? Yeah. And let this guy. And the other thing I learned from my father, who learned it from talking with Ted Williams at these clinics and stuff, he says to the leadoff man, Jimmy, you're leading off today. What's he going to throw you? I don't know. Sit down.
Sit down.
Tommy, you're in. Tommy, what's he going to throw you? Well, Tommy's not stupid. He heard what the old man said.
Yeah.
He said, he's going to throw me a fastball. Oh, very good, Tommy. Where's it going to be? I don't know. Sit down. Louis. Now he says to Louis, what's he going to throw you? He's going to throw me a fastball. Where's it going to be? It's going to be inside because I watched him warm up. Everything's running inside. He's right-hander. Everything's inside. Fine. First pitch is ball 1. What's he throwing on the next pitch? Fastball. That's right. First pitch is strike 1. What's he going to throw you on this 0-1 pitch? Last year, Gloucester Catholic, I saw him 30 games. I saw about 100 games altogether. I did not see anyone throw anything other than an 0-1 curveball the entire season. Not one fastball 0-1
Really?
in South Jersey last year.
Wow.
Okay. And I told my son, I might make a comeback. I'm in a wheelchair. All right. I can't see fastballs, but I know if I know it's coming, I'll still be able to hit a curve. And I'll wheel myself down there. I'll hit it to the outfield and wheel it down because these guys throw a curveball 0-1 to Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. The guy couldn't even smell it.
Yeah.
And I watched sometimes the guys give up a no-hitter. Some guy flares one over first on a 0-1 curveball or changeup. What are you throwing him that you just threw it by him?
Yeah, you just blew it by him. Yeah.
They don't watch the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got a new thing now. They got to watch every pitch.
Yeah,
And,
of course. Absolutely.
They got to tell me beforehand what it's going to be and where it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it's like playing poker. If you do it enough, you get a pretty good feel. It ain't the big leagues. It's not even college ball where they got more than one pitch you can get over. It's high school.
Yeah, that's right.
And pay attention to the game and the count.
That's right.
The count is a weapon if you use it.
Yeah.
And I always tell the kids, the pitcher has 5 pitches he can throw to as many as 9, 10 locations. Or was it? 9 locations, 5 pitches. If he screws up, sometimes he's got his brother-in-law umpiring. If that's not enough, he's got 8 guys behind him. If that's not enough, all you got is 2 things. That you may have paid $300 for it, but only about 4 inches of it's any good.
Sure.
And one other thing. What is that? And they always say, I don't know. The count.
The count.
If you don't use the count as a weapon, you're going into a battle of wits unarmed.
Yeah.
And makes you a half-wit. But anyway.
Well, you know what, Joe?
Guys, by the end of the season, know what's coming, at least in certain situations.
No,
you know what I mean?
No doubt. You have to. I mean, Springer says it all the time. You know, what's easier to hit? You know, so many pitches when you don't know what's coming, or one pitch when you know what's coming. Well, it's the one pitch. You know, if you know it's coming, that's the one. You know,
Exactly.
you got. You know, what are you gonna do? Guess on the other 10 pitches you saw? So I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. But I got to wrap this up. So
That was fun.
Yeah, no, I'm loving this. Believe me, Joe, if it was up to me, I'd stay talking to you until midnight. But one thing that I want you to get out there, because I think this is really important that people hear this from you. Youth coaches, okay? What can you offer them so that they can implement better hitting programs for their players? Well,
I'm going to put out a lot of free stuff this year when Trouty gets home.
Okay.
And I have about 100 patentable items that when you install them into practice, they guarantee you that you teach aggressiveness, using the count, learning the strike zone, learning your happy zones, the weak, and scoring it. And it's a system that will double their slugging percentage and increase their batting average by a lot. But it'll double their slugging percentage because 1-0, I'm getting a fastball, and I know it's probably going to be low. I don't want a single.
Right.
Right. And I, case in point, I had a kid on my last team was a left-handed 2-hitter, and the team was struggling. He was hitting 400, and I didn't really check his stats. So halfway through the season, I didn't look at his charts, his hot zones, and I realized that he was hitting about 750 from his belly button down, and hitting about 090 from the belt up. Right. So I told him from now on, you ain't swinging a ball unless it's below your belt till you got 2 strikes. And he finished the season. He was hitting 400. He finished the season at 550 something. But what happened? He had 6 homers before the break, and he had 25 after, and he had like 10 doubles. He went to 50 doubles.
Wow.
His slugging percentage went above 1,000. Right, because he stopped swinging the balls at his nose with no strikes.
Right.
And he stopped chasing curveballs with no strikes.
Right.
So, again, each his own. Each boy has to have his own happy zones, weak zones, strike zones. Then You know where the guy's going to throw it if you watch him. Move your swing, your sweet spot, move it where he's throwing it. That's something that they don't do nowadays. You can move in the box. Nobody says you have to cement yourself down there.
Right.
So if he's throwing it outside all the time, it's a lefty throwing me away, I'm going to take that away from him. I'm going to put my home run swing out there by moving closer to the plate.
Right.
He's throwing fuzz inside. I'm going to back off and put my I'm a low ball hitter. I'm going to put my low ball swing where he's throwing it.
Right.
Right. That just makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So we'll keep an eye out for that, for those. Now, will that be on your website?
Yeah, it's on my website, thehitdoctorusa.com. All the new stuff is coming out. It's going to be on Kickstarter.
Okay.
I have a strike zone thing, and all the bats are coming out one at a time by Mind Bat Company.
Okay.
They just put out the GOAT, G-O-A-T, the greatest wood bat of all time, and it is. It's unbreakable.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now you
All
don't
right.
You don't use social media or anything like that. It's just a website. If anybody needs to reach you,
I'm supposed to be using social media. Let's put it this way. I got to get better at it, but I'm putting a lot of stuff on X and LinkedIn and Instagram. But I'm going to start doing a little bit better. You see a lot of my Hit Doctor stuff on there. It's nobody knows who the hell I am.
That's not true. A lot of people know who you are.
It's funny, they forget real fast.
Yeah.
The kids down here in the Philadelphia area, the last year I did a camp was 2017. They didn't know who Ken Griffey Jr. was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They know all the guys on the Phillies, but they didn't know who Ken Griffey Jr. was, and he had only been retired like 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, I make references to ball players all the time with my high school players, and they look at me like, Coach, who's that? I'm like, oh, my God.
They're not students of the game, though.
They're not. No. It's it. You know what, Joe? That's a whole nother subject that we can get into.
That's another day.
Yeah, I'll have you back on and we could discuss that. So,
Anytime. Anytime, Jimmy. I really appreciate it. You asked a lot of great questions.
No,
it was fun.
Yeah, this was fantastic, Joe, and I appreciate you coming on. And look, good luck to you, and we'll stay in touch.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to get you some of that stuff.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right.
Thanks,
Over
Joe.
and out. Have a good one, Jim.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So there's your prescription for what's ailing your hitting. Straight from the hit doctor, Joe Barth. The thing that sticks out to me most with this episode is how Joe talks about, all hitters are not the same. Everybody is different. You can't cookie cut the way you teach players how to hit. I love his philosophy of working backwards. So, how are you making your outs? If you're not making outs, if you're hitting, leave them alone. But let's see how you're making your outs. Are you rolling over? Are you hitting too many pop-ups? Are you hitting too many weak ground balls? Are you striking out? What's going on there? And then take that and, again, I'm going to use a word, and prescribe what you need to help you overcome these issues. So I don't think that we need to take players and, in every case, overhaul their swing. It's just not that complicated. Okay? Yes, there's natural ability involved, but most of the time when you get a guy who can hit, it's a little tweak here, a little tweak there, and you could, usually straighten out if they're going through a tough time. You could usually straighten it out. Rather than take everything that the hitter's doing, throw it out the window, and start all over again. It just doesn't make sense. The body moves a certain way. That particular hitter's body moves the way it's going to move. And I agree with Joe 100% that every guy is different. So if you take something that's not natural to the hitter and you try to introduce something that's going to try and make him move a different way, well, common sense will tell you that that's only going to create more problems. So, my suggestion to you would be look up the Hit Doctor USA, read about Joe. You'll see his philosophies. There's all kinds of information. There's all kinds of programs. There's all kinds of stuff that may help you with your hitting if you need it. But Joe has a lot of information that's going to help you to become a better hitter. So, if you enjoyed today's show, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Visit the website at thectbshow.net. Listen to your favorite episodes and please leave us a review. You can also reach out to the show on social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and get this, the old man has finally got us on TikTok. Keeps me young. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover, please drop us an email at clearingthebases@gmail.com. Your feedback helps us bring you the best content and reach more people in the baseball community just like you. And also, let me know if you'd like to be a guest. Until then, coaches and players, keep practicing, stay positive, and remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.